Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday Revelation study. Today we have reached chapter 8 of the book of Revelation. We just got done reading about the seals in the scroll. We have reached the seventh seal, which starts Revelation 8. And it's going to lead into the trumpets. And now remember that the book of Revelation is not written in any order. What we're doing is we're learning about the things that are going to happen and have happened and will happen. So let's read chapter 8, verse 1. And it says, "And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was a silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour." Now, this is a very intense moment. Everything is quiet in heaven. It's like the calm before the storm. Something drastic is about to happen. Something major. Everything is quiet. Because something big is about to happen. I want you to feel the intensity of that. And verse 2 says, "And I saw the seven angels which stood before God. To them were given seven trumpets." So now in this quiet, in this calm state, you got seven angels that come and they line up before the throne. And these angels are given seven trumpets, one each. And each trumpet is going to carry something or release something onto the earth. Each one of these trumpets is something that's going to happen. And it says, "And I saw another angel came and stood at the altar, having the golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came up with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand." Now, in the Old Testament time, when Israel was in the desert, they built a temple. And on the inner part of that temple, there was an altar where they would burn incense. And what the incense represented was the prayers of all the saints ascending to God. That's what it represented. If you go to Exodus 30, Leviticus 10, Leviticus 16, Numbers 16, Psalms 141, verse 2, all these talk about how the incense were offered as prayers of the saints, and they would ascend to heaven. So what's going on here is there is a quiet in heaven. There were seven angels that came and they lined up. And the Lord has given them each a trumpet. And now you have this angel that is over here at the altar. And he is doing what he's doing. He's offering up the prayers of all the saints from the beginning to the end. From the beginning of the time when we left Eden, the garden, and Eden, to the point where, because there were two different places, Eden was the garden. Eden was the place that God created. The garden was east of Eden on the eastern part. So all the way to the end, all the prayers of the saints, and that's what he's doing. That's what this is representing. Okay? And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it unto the earth, and there was voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. Okay, now he had the time. Okay, the verse when it was talking about how there was the incense that were burning. That was the time of patience from the beginning of time to the end. The prayers of all the saints have always been, please avenge us from what we have been through, what we are going through. Help us, avenge us. Get these people who are getting us. And now what's happening is that he's taking the fire. The fire represents God's authority and judgment. Okay? God's ability to destroy and fulfill and all his authority. And he takes the fire and he puts it into the censer and he hurls it to the earth. And what he's saying here is that now the Lord has heard your prayers and he is going to fulfill your prayers. And along with it, he's bringing his wrath and judgment upon those that have brought affliction to the children of God. Now, I want to make this clear. What is going to happen with these trumpets is not for us, his children. This is going to happen to those that are not his children. The ones that don't belong to him, that's who this is. All this is coming upon them. We're safe. If we're here while this is happening, he's got us. Don't worry about nothing. This is coming for them. Okay? So now he's saying, get ready. Your prayers are about to be answered. The show is about to start. Everybody's taking their places. All right, let's do this. Verse 7, the first trumpet. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And a third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the grass was burnt up. Okay, now, the first angel sound. Remember in the time of Moses when he was in Egypt, there was a time when he brought down fire and hail. Remember that? For those of us that know our Bible, and for those that don't, there was a time when Moses went to Egypt to free the Israelites from Egypt, but Egypt didn't want to let them go. And one of the things that he did was he brought down fire and hail. And that's what's happening just like that. But in this instance, it's burning up trees and bushes and green grass. So it's affecting the land of the earth. And it's not a third part of the earth, like this is the earth and you have a third part. This is a third part means that there are sections from every place that equal a third part. And this is affecting, kind of like in the United States, how our mountains are all on fire and all our forests are being burnt up and all the grass along with it. And there was a time when, not too long ago, when Australia, there was a fire that burnt up all of Australia. You know, this is the type of thing, okay? It's going to rain fire and hail, and it's going to wipe out a third of the trees and the grass and everything in its path. The second angel sounded in verse 8, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. And a third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. Now, there was a time in the time of Egypt, Moses turned the water to blood. The reason why I'm comparing this to Moses is, what was Egypt doing? Egypt was oppressing and bringing down a wrath onto Israel because he didn't want to let them go. They had enslaved them, and he was pressing them, right? He was doing all kinds of things to, but God said, look, I'm bringing my wrath because you're going to let my people go. And I'm going to deal with you. And by the time I'm done dealing with you, you're going to know who I am. That's what's going on here. Just like in Moses, when the waters were turned to blood, the same thing happens here. Only it's compared to as a great mountain burning as fire. Kind of like, imagine, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but imagine like an underwater volcano. Okay? Imagine that. And all the waters turned to blood. And a third part of the creatures of the sea that had life died. So in other words, the fish, the octopus, the scallops, the shrimps, all that stuff. A third part of the creatures died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. What's going on here? Well, now the food is being affected by the fishing market. And the goods that are being delivered from other places are being affected. It's kind of like the war right now, the Strait of Hormuz, where people are trying to get through so they can deliver, but they can't. It's kind of like that. The deliveries of things are going to be destroyed. They're not going to happen. And the fishing industry is going to be hit. So the market is going to be hit. It's going to be dealt with. It's kind of like God saying, okay, these are the things where you got rich off of. Well, guess what? I'm about to disrupt you where you get it from. Because you're going to know who I am. You're going to know that you do not mess with my children and expect me to do nothing. That's basically what God is saying. Those are my kids, and you're about to feel my wrath. Or you're already feeling my wrath, because here it is. You know what I'm saying? And so a third angel sounds. And there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and of the fountain of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters before they were made bitter. So now the fresh water is being affected. You're not going to have water to drink. Those that don't belong to God. For those that belong to God, don't worry. Just like the Lord gave water to the Israelites that were in the desert for 40, years. Remember the two rocks? He gave them water. He gave them food. This is not for us. I want to stress that. This is for those that don't belong to Him if we are here at this time. Because I keep saying that because some people say we're going to be raptured before, some people say in the middle, some people say at the end. I say just be ready. In case you go through this, you're ready, and if you're raptured out, it's okay, you were ready anyway. But the waters are hit, the fresh water. And wormwood is it was a bitter herb that they used to use in the old days to treat stomach ailments. It's like a bitter herb that they would mix in with like water. But this what it's talking about is on a massive scale. And the bitterness is so bad in this one that it literally kills men. They're going to go to drink water and they're going to die from it. Okay? And the fourth angel sounded, and a third part of the sun was smitten, and a third part of the moon, and a third part of the stars. And so as the third part of them was darkened, And the day shone not for the third part of it, and likewise not. So in other words, a third part of the day wasn't shining, and a third part of the night wasn't either. So what's happening here during the fourth angel? Well, we have the environment now being affected. First we had land, then we had the sea, then we had the waters, now we have the environment. And on this trumpet, a third part of the sun is blown out. I wonder what scientists are going to say when that happens. Because to them, it's probably not going to make sense. What do you mean a third part of the sun is burnt out? Yes. You want to know why? Because God said so. That's why. A third part of the stars are going to be blown out. Why? Because God said so. A third part of the moon is going to be blown out? Yes. Why? Because God said so. What people need to understand is that what God says goes, not man. Let God be true and every man a liar. People are always trying to dumb down God's power. Like he doesn't have power to do certain things. Like be one God, three in one God, three and one at the same time. Or like a third part of the sun can't just be burnt out while the rest of it is burning. God has power to do anything he wants. Why? Because he created everything, and everything is owned by him, including us, because he paid the ultimate price to buy us back. Notice, he bought us back after we were stolen, so that no one could say that he wasn't just. So when this happens, God is saying this is what's going to happen when the fourth trumpet sound. The environment's going to be affected. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe. 3 woes. To the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. Basically what he's saying is this. The first 4, yeah, they were traumatic. Yeah, they were a bit chaotic. A bit. But the other 3 that are about to come, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Because those 3, they're going to be something that is, wow. It's going to be hard and harsh. But look, you can, okay, there are one of 2 things that you can be here. One of 2 things that you can be here. One, you can be with God and be protected from all of this. Remember in the last chapter, the Lord sealed all his children. We are sealed and safe by God. We're saved and safe. Through him, by him, for him. Okay? We don't have to worry about none of this. This isn't for us. Or you can be a part of those that are not of God. This is for you. The reason why a lot of us release these studies is to let you know that over here is the safe part. This is where you're safe. This is where you come to go for safety. But when you're over there, this is what's going to happen. All these things are going to happen to you. And it is fair. And I'm going to tell you why it's fair. God has spent all of creation's time trying to get his creation to understand that 1, he is God, and 2, he is trying to save you from where Satan is trying to take you. Satan, since he fell from heaven and landed on earth and talked to our first parents, Adam and Eve, has tried to take man to hell with him. Why? Because he doesn't want to have to face the fire alone. God has spent all of the time that we have had on earth trying to get man to understand that he is your God, your creator, and that he loves you so much that he's trying to save you from going to hell. Believe it or not, even during these things, because what we're going to read throughout the book of Revelation, it is going to say that he is trying to reach those that aren't his still in hopes that they will repent, but they don't. Up until the very last call, God is still going to try to save you from going to hell, from the hellfire. And people want to go, no, he's just being harsh. What kind of God makes us go to hell because we don't serve him and yada, yada, yada? No, you got it wrong. God's been trying to save you from hell while the devil's trying to take you to hell. He's trying to keep you from going. But you don't get that. You just want to blame him like he had something to do with it, forgetting the fact that the devil is the one that's after you. Like a roaring lion seeking who he can devour. He wants to sink his teeth into you. He wants to drag you down. He wants to make you like one of the coals in a charcoal fire so he doesn't have to take the heat. And the next 3 trumpets that we're going to read in chapter 9, man, I don't want to be nowhere near it. But this stuff is going to happen if it's not happening already. We're getting glimpses already. We're that close. If it doesn't mean that it's already happening. God's will be done in his time. But I ask you, where do you want to stand? Where do you want to be at the end? Where do you want to be when this takes place? Are you coming home? Or are you going to hell? Are you going to the lake of burning fire with Satan and his angels and death and Hades and hell and everything else that's going on in there? Where do you want to stand? That's the question. So this was chapter 8, the beginning of the trumpets. Next week we'll read chapter 9. We're going to read what's going to happen during the next 3 trumpets. You're going to want to be around for those. And if anything, it's to also know what's going to happen. Listen, I know a lot of people don't know the book of Revelation. They don't know what's going to happen. And it's something that a lot of churches have gotten away from. For some reason, they don't want to preach on them. But this is our time. This is where we come in. And I'm sending this message out just to give you a heads up on what's going to happen and to let you know where you want to be when it happens. Because it's going to happen. God has proven himself time and time again. Not that he has to, but he has. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you understood chapter 8. And may God bless you. May he give you wisdom to understand what's going on and the ability to overcome and come to him to be saved and marked by the promised Holy Spirit so you don't have to take place in none of this. God bless you. Take care. See you next week. Bye.